Sun Tzu and the Art of War, Chapter 1. Laying Plans. Sun Tzu emphasizes that the art of war is extremely important for a state or a nation. It can mean the difference between life and death and can lead to either safety or destruction. Because of this significance, studying the art of war is essential and should never be overlooked. Sun Tzu explains that the art of war is governed by 5 main factors that must be considered when trying to understand the situation on the battlefield. These factors are: 1. The moral law. This refers to the connection between the ruler and the people. When the moral law is strong, the people will support their leader and follow him into battle without fear, even risking their lives. This unity is crucial for the strength of the army. 2. Heaven. This represents the influence of the weather, time of day, seasons, and even the natural cycles of life. Understanding the patterns of heaven helps commanders make better decisions during warfare. 3. Earth. This factor includes the geography of the battlefield, such as distances, the nature of the terrain, potential dangers, and safe areas. Knowledge of the earth allows generals to choose the best positions and strategies. 4. The commander. The qualities of the leader are vital. A good commander must have wisdom, honesty, kindness, bravery, and discipline. The success of an army often depends on the character and abilities of its leader. 5. Method and discipline. This includes how well the army is organized, the ranking of officers, the supply lines that bring food and resources, and the management of military spending. Proper method and discipline ensure that the army can function efficiently. Each general should be familiar with these 5 factors. Those who understand them will likely achieve victory, while those who do not will fail. Therefore, when making decisions or planning strategies, a leader should consider the following questions. 1. Which ruler has the moral law on their side? 2. Which general is more skilled and capable? 3. Which side has advantages based on heaven and earth? 4. Where is discipline enforced most strictly? 5. Which army is stronger and better prepared? 6. Where are the soldiers better trained and more effective? 7. Which army shows greater consistency in rewarding and punishing its members? By examining these 7 points, I can predict the outcome of a battle. A general who listens to my advice and acts on it will likely win. In contrast, a general who ignores my counsel will probably face defeat. Additionally, leaders should take advantage of any favorable circumstances that arise, adapting their plans accordingly. In warfare, deception is crucial. When we are in a position to attack, we should create the impression that we are weak or unprepared. When we deploy our forces, we should seem inactive. If we are close to the enemy, we should make them believe we are far away. Conversely, when we are far away, we should make them think we are near. By doing this, we can lure the enemy into traps and strike when they are unprepared. A skilled general makes careful calculations before entering a battle. The general who loses is often the one who did not plan well. Therefore, careful preparation leads to victory, while poor planning results in defeat. Even more troubling is the situation where there is no planning at all. By paying attention to these details, I can foresee who is likely to win or lose in any given conflict. Chapter 2. Waging War. In the second chapter, Sun Tzu discusses the costs associated with waging war. He explains that running an army is expensive. For instance, an army of 100,000 soldiers can cost around 1,000 ounces of silver each day, taking into account everything from supplies to entertainment and other expenses. Sun Tzu warns that if victory takes too long to achieve, soldiers can lose their motivation and become less effective. Additionally, a long campaign can exhaust the resources of a state. If troops are unmotivated, their weapons become dull, and the strength of the army diminishes. As resources deplete, new leaders may emerge to take advantage of the weakened state. He notes that there is no benefit to prolonged warfare. Only someone who understands the negative aspects of war can grasp how to conduct it profitably. A smart commander avoids raising new troops unnecessarily and does not overload supply wagons. Instead, they should try to acquire supplies from the enemy, as this preserves their own resources. A country that has an army close to home will see prices rise, which drains the wealth of the people. Sun Tzu argues that a wise general should focus on taking resources from the enemy because one cartload of the enemy's provisions is worth 20 of their own. To inspire the troops to fight, the general should offer rewards for accomplishments. Captured soldiers should be treated well, fostering loyalty. Ultimately, the goal in war should be victory, not prolonged campaigns. The general's leadership determines whether the people will live in peace or face danger. The way a general conducts warfare can significantly affect the nation's fate. Chapter 3. Attack by Stratagem. In this chapter, Sun Tzu emphasizes the importance of strategy over brute force. He states that the best outcome in war is to take the enemy's territory without destroying it. Instead of seeking to annihilate the enemy's forces, a wise general aims to capture their army intact. True excellence in military leadership lies in defeating the enemy's will to fight without engaging in battle. Sun Tzu outlines various strategies, stating that the most effective approach is to disrupt the enemy's plans. The next best strategy is to prevent the enemy's forces from joining together. Engaging the enemy's army in the field comes next, while besieging fortified cities is the least favorable option. Preparing for a siege can take months and often leads to high casualties without guaranteeing success. A general who allows their frustration to take over may send troops to attack prematurely, resulting in unnecessary losses. Thus, it is crucial for a leader to avoid costly sieges whenever possible. A skilled leader can win battles without needing to engage in direct combat. They can capture cities without laying siege and achieve their objectives without enduring lengthy operations. By maintaining the integrity of their forces, they can ultimately contest control over the empire without losing men in the process. This method of attacking through strategy allows for a more favorable outcome. Sun Tzu also provides guidance on troop deployment. If our forces are 10 times stronger than the enemy's, we should surround them. If 5 times stronger, we should attack directly. If equally matched, we can choose to engage in battle, while if we are weaker, we should consider retreating. The general plays a crucial role in the success of the state. If the general is strong and capable, the state will also be strong. However, a ruler can bring misfortune upon their army in three ways. 1. Commanding the army to advance or retreat without understanding its capabilities. 2. Trying to manage the army as if it were a kingdom, disregarding military conditions. 3. Choosing officers without understanding their capabilities, which can lead to confusion and distrust among the troops. When soldiers are anxious and distrustful, they become vulnerable to attacks from rival leaders, leading to chaos within the army and losing the opportunity for victory. Sun Tzu identifies 5 key elements for achieving victory. 1. The general must know when to fight and when not to fight. 2. The general must understand how to manage both superior and inferior forces. 3. The spirit of the army must be unified across all ranks. 4. The general must prepare and wait to catch the enemy off guard. 5. The general must possess military skills and be free from interference from the ruler. This leads to the famous saying, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the outcome of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, you will win some and lose some. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will be defeated in every battle." Chapter 4. Tactical Dispositions. In this chapter, Sun Tzu talks about the importance of positioning and preparation in battle. He states that good fighters put themselves in a position where they cannot be defeated, waiting for the right moment to strike the enemy. Security against defeat is within the general's control, but the opportunity to defeat the enemy is often provided by the enemy's own mistakes. Sun Tzu emphasizes that a successful fighter secures themselves against defeat, but cannot ensure the enemy's defeat without taking advantage of their errors. Therefore, understanding the nature of both one's own strengths and weaknesses, as well as the enemy's, is essential for success. To win, a general must not only be strategic, but also adaptable. They should always be ready to change their tactics based on the evolving situation on the battlefield. A general who can remain calm and make thoughtful decisions is more likely to achieve victory. Moreover, understanding the terrain and the strengths and weaknesses of both armies plays a crucial role. The general must use all available information to make informed decisions and to anticipate the enemy's moves. This strategic thinking allows the general to set traps and to take advantage of openings. By being prepared and strategic, a general can create a situation where the enemy is caught off guard. This ability to adapt and respond to circumstances can turn the tide of battle. Hence, the saying goes that while one can prepare to avoid defeat, the chance to strike at the enemy must come from their own errors. In summary, a general's ability to secure their position and wait for the right opportunity to strike is vital for success in warfare. By following these principles, a leader can enhance their chances of victory and ensure the strength of their state. Conclusion: Sun Tzu's teachings in The Art of War provide timeless wisdom on strategy, leadership, and the complexities of conflict. His principles emphasize the importance of preparation, understanding both one's strengths and weaknesses, and the art of deception. These lessons are applicable not only in warfare, but also in various aspects of life, including business and personal challenges. By studying and applying these strategies, leaders can navigate through difficult situations and emerge victorious. In a world where the stakes are high, understanding the art of war is essential for anyone looking to lead effectively. Sun Tzu's insights remind us that the mind is a powerful weapon and that success often hinges on knowledge, preparation, and adaptability. Defensive tactics, ability to defeat the enemy, means taking the offensive. Chapter 5. Energy. Sun Tzu, a famous military strategist, teaches us that controlling a large army is not so different from managing a small group of soldiers. The main difference lies in how we organize and divide them. When you are in charge of a big army, it's essential to ensure that every soldier knows their role and follows commands effectively. Good organization helps the army to remain strong and cohesive during battles, allowing it to withstand the enemy's attacks. Just like a solid wall stands against the wind, a well-organized army can resist the force of the enemy. When you fight with a large army, it can be tempting to think that sheer numbers alone will guarantee victory. However, the real key to winning lies in the way the army is managed. Proper communication through signs and signals ensures that all soldiers can work together harmoniously. This coordination makes it easier for the army to face the enemy without losing its structure. Imagine an army moving like a single unit, as powerful as a giant stone crashing against an egg. Such force is only possible when every soldier is aligned in purpose and action. In any fight, Sun Tzu points out that there are two primary methods of attack: direct and indirect. The direct method involves straightforward attacks that can be easily seen and understood. On the other hand, the indirect method requires a more strategic approach, often involving deception and surprise. Indirect tactics are not only clever, but also limitless, much like the endless cycles of nature. They allow the commander to adapt and respond to the ever-changing landscape of the battlefield. Just as music can be created from only a few notes, with many different melodies emerging from their combinations, the same applies to battle strategies. There may be only a couple of fundamental ways to attack, but when these methods are combined in different ways, they create countless strategies and maneuvers. This creativity can give a skilled commander a significant advantage, enabling them to outsmart the enemy and secure victory. The dynamics of a battlefield can be likened to a rushing river that rolls stones along its path. A skilled fighter needs to be decisive, just like a falcon swooping down to catch its prey. Speed and timing are critical. A good fighter will strike swiftly and with power, creating a formidable presence that instills fear in the enemy. Sun Tzu compares energy in battle to drawing a bow. The moment you release the arrow is crucial for hitting your target. In the chaos of battle, there may seem to be disorder, but this does not mean there is actual confusion. True disorder can be an illusion created by skilled leaders to mislead the enemy. For instance, a commander can make his troops appear scattered, while they are, in fact, well organized and ready for action. This tactic can confuse the enemy and make them underestimate your forces. The ability to simulate disorder while maintaining discipline is a sign of mastery in warfare. When a commander appears weak, it may actually hide strength and strategic planning. In the same way, showing signs of fear can be a tactic to mislead the enemy about your true intentions. For instance, by making an enemy believe they are winning or in control, you can lure them into a trap. The clever commander understands how to manipulate the perceptions of the enemy to create openings for attack. To maintain control, a skilled leader effectively uses the energy of his troops without overburdening any single soldier. By recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of each individual, a commander can assemble a team that works in harmony. When combined, the soldiers can move with the same force as a rolling stone cascading down a mountain. This collective energy can lead to overwhelming power on the battlefield. Chapter 6. Weak Points and Strong. In Chapter 6, Sun Tzu discusses the importance of positioning and timing in battle. He notes that whoever arrives first to the battlefield will be in a stronger position, as they will be fresh and ready to engage in combat. Conversely, the one who arrives later may be tired and unprepared. Therefore, the smart combatant strives to control the timing of the battle, forcing the enemy to react to their moves rather than the other way around. An effective general can impose his will on the enemy by offering them advantages that tempt them into making mistakes. For example, by presenting opportunities for the enemy to attack, a general can lead them into traps. By keeping the enemy off balance, the clever fighter can determine when and where the battle will take place. If the enemy is resting or well supplied, the general can disrupt their peace by attacking or harassing them, forcing them to defend themselves. A good leader will also be able to move quickly to unexpected places, catching the enemy by surprise. An army can travel great distances and still remain strong if it moves through enemy territory without being detected. When a general attacks only unguarded positions, he ensures his defenses remain safe while taking advantage of the enemy's vulnerabilities. A skilled general understands that the opponent may not know where to focus their defenses. In essence, the best defense is to keep the enemy guessing. If they are unsure of where the next attack will come from, they will struggle to prepare adequately. This confusion leads to mistakes that can be exploited. Sun Tzu emphasizes the need for stealth and strategy. He advises that a general must not reveal his plans. By concealing one's intentions, a general can outsmart the enemy and maintain the upper hand. If you can remain invisible while discovering the enemy's weaknesses, you can keep your forces unified while dividing the enemy's forces. The goal of a successful general is to create a situation where they can strike an enemy force that is weaker and divided. The best battleground is one that is kept secret. If the enemy knows where the fight will occur, they can prepare their forces accordingly. By keeping the location of your intended attack hidden, you can cause the enemy to disperse their troops in an effort to defend against multiple potential threats. Sun Tzu highlights the idea that if the enemy strengthens one part of their army, they will weaken another. If they reinforce their front line, their rear will become vulnerable. Conversely, if they send reinforcements to one flank, the opposite side will be left exposed. This principle creates a dynamic where the enemy cannot be strong everywhere at once. Numerical weakness in the enemy can arise from their need to defend against multiple threats, while your own numerical strength comes from forcing them into this defensive posture. By understanding the timing and location of battles, a general can concentrate their forces effectively. If the enemy does not know where the fight will occur, their troops will be unable to support one another, which creates confusion and disorganization within their ranks. Even if the enemy has more soldiers, a skilled commander can still achieve victory by preventing them from fighting effectively. To do this, the general must remain aware of the enemy's plans and adapt their own strategies accordingly. For example, by learning the enemy's movements, one can predict when they are vulnerable and launch attacks at just the right moment. Sun Tzu stresses the importance of careful observation and planning. The ability to hide your own strategies from the enemy while revealing theirs is vital for success. This requires a keen understanding of the battlefield and the ability to think strategically about both your own forces and those of the enemy. The ultimate goal is to conceal your movements and plans, preventing even the sharpest spies from gaining insight into your tactics. A successful commander uses the enemy's tactics against them, turning their strengths into weaknesses. This concept may be challenging for others to understand because they may see the tactics used in battle but miss the larger strategic thinking that drives these decisions. Instead of repeating tactics that previously led to victory, a wise general adapts to the situation at hand. Military tactics must be as fluid as water. They should change and flow depending on the circumstances of the battle. Just as water moves away from high ground to lower ground, so should a general avoid direct confrontation whenever possible. To summarize, both energy management and tactical positioning are vital components of warfare. The best generals can balance power and strategy, creating opportunities to exploit the enemy's weaknesses while safeguarding their own forces. Through a combination of skillful management, observation, and adaptation, a commander can lead their army to victory, regardless of the enemy's size or strength. Water and strategy. Water is a powerful force, and it flows according to the land it encounters. Just like water, a soldier must adapt to the conditions and challenges presented by their enemy. In warfare, there are no fixed rules or constants. The situation is always changing. A skilled leader can modify their tactics based on the opponent they face, and this ability to adjust is what makes a leader truly exceptional. Just as water changes shape depending on the ground, the elements around us also vary. The 5 elements, water, fire, wood, metal, and earth, are not always equally present or important. Similarly, the 4 seasons change one after another, bringing different conditions and challenges. Days can be long or short, and the moon goes through cycles of waxing and waning. This constant change mirrors the unpredictable nature of war, where conditions can shift rapidly. Chapter 7. Maneuvering in the context of war. A general receives orders from their ruler or sovereign. Once an army is assembled and focused, the general must ensure that all the different parts of the army work together smoothly before setting up camp. After establishing a base, the next step is tactical maneuvering, which is often the most challenging aspect of warfare. The essence of tactical maneuvering is turning challenges into opportunities. A general must be skilled at transforming difficult situations into advantages. For instance, they may lead the enemy away from their position, creating a chance to strike unexpectedly. This ability to divert attention and manipulate the battlefield demonstrates a deep understanding of strategy. When moving an army, having a well-organized structure is crucial. If the troops are undisciplined, it can be dangerous. Rushing an army forward can lead to chaos, and if soldiers are not well prepared, they may lose their way and fail to reach their destination. For example, if you order your men to march without rest, only a small fraction may arrive at their goal, while the rest get exhausted and left behind. The general must remember the importance of logistics. An army without supplies is like a ship without a sail. It cannot navigate the challenges ahead. Knowing the terrain is also vital. A general must understand the land, including mountains, forests, swamps, and rivers, to effectively plan their moves. Working with local guides is a key strategy. These guides can provide valuable insights about the land and help the general take advantage of its features. In war, deception is often necessary for success. A good general must decide whether to concentrate their forces in one area or spread them out based on the situation. Speed and surprise are essential in war. A general should act quickly, like the wind, while ensuring their forces are as unified and strong as a forest. When raiding or plundering, the army should act like fire, quick and intense. They must also remain immobile like a mountain when necessary. Plans should be shrouded in secrecy, like the darkness of night, and when it's time to move, the army should strike suddenly, like a thunderbolt. When capturing new territory, it is important to share the spoils among the soldiers. This ensures that everyone benefits from the victory and helps maintain morale. Before making any major decision, a general must reflect carefully. Those who master the art of deception and adaptation are the ones who will achieve success in battle. In the Book of Army Management, it is noted that during battle, spoken commands may not reach far enough. This is why drums and gongs are used. They help communicate across distances. Additionally, flags and banners are used to guide the troops and keep them focused on a single point. A united army is stronger, and it is impossible for brave soldiers to act alone or for fearful ones to retreat individually. In night battles, signal fires and drums are crucial for communication. During the day, flags and banners serve the same purpose. The spirit of the army can be easily lost. A leader's ability to maintain focus is essential. A soldier's energy is highest in the morning, begins to wane by noon, and is often spent by evening. A clever general will avoid attacking an army when their spirits are high and instead wait for the right moment when the enemy is tired or distracted. Being disciplined and patient is critical. A successful general will wait for the enemy to show signs of disorder before taking action. They will stay close to their objectives while the enemy is still far away, remaining calm while the enemy struggles. Being well-fed and prepared while the enemy is fatigued is a significant advantage. It's wise not to attack an enemy whose soldiers are well prepared and confident. Also, Avoid chasing an enemy who pretends to flee. This can lead to traps. When surrounding an army, it's essential to leave a route for escape, as pressing a desperate foe too hard can have unintended consequences. Chapter 8. Variation in Tactics. In the context of war, a general receives commands and organizes their forces accordingly. In challenging terrain, avoid setting up camp where roads intersect. Joining forces with allies is crucial, but remaining isolated in risky areas can lead to defeat. In desperate situations, the general must be willing to fight. Some paths should be avoided, some armies should not be confronted, and certain towns may be better left alone. A wise general understands when to follow the ruler's orders and when to exercise discretion. A general who can skillfully vary their tactics is better equipped to lead their troops effectively. Understanding the advantages of changing tactics is essential for successful military leadership. A general who is unaware of how to adapt may know the terrain well, but will struggle to utilize that knowledge effectively. A student of warfare must learn to adjust their plans, as familiarity with strategies alone is not enough. Effective leaders blend considerations of advantage and disadvantage in their plans. If they temper their expectations for success with realism, they are more likely to achieve their goals. In difficult situations, being ready to seize advantages can help turn the tide. Creating distractions and confusion for the enemy can keep them occupied. The art of war teaches that one should not rely solely on the enemy's inaction, but instead focus on being prepared. A general should strengthen their position and ensure it cannot be easily attacked. There are 5 major mistakes that can lead to a general's downfall. 1. Recklessness. Acting without thought can lead to destruction and loss. 2. Cowardice. Failing to confront the enemy can result in capture and defeat. 3. Hasty temper. A quick temper can lead to poor decisions, especially when provoked. 4. Sensitivity to honor. Overreacting to insults can cloud judgment and lead to mistakes. 5. Over-caring for soldiers. Worrying too much about the troops can lead to indecision and anxiety. These 5 faults are dangerous and can ruin a general's ability to lead effectively. When an army is defeated and its leader falls, it is often due to one of these faults. It is important for leaders to reflect on these issues and work to avoid them. Chapter 9. The Army on the March Now. Let's discuss the important aspects of setting up camp and observing the enemy's movements. When traveling over mountains, move quickly and stay near valleys. When choosing a camp, select high ground that faces the sun to keep your troops warm and healthy. Avoid climbing to high points just to engage in battle, as this can lead to unfavorable conditions. If you are facing an invading force that has crossed a river, don't rush to confront them while they are still in the water. Wait until a significant portion of their army is across before launching your attack. If you are eager to fight, it's wiser to choose a position that puts you at an advantage. When crossing marshes, the priority should be to move through them quickly and avoid getting bogged down. If a battle is necessary in such terrain, ensure you have water and grass nearby for your troops and position your back to the trees for cover. In flat, dry areas, find a good spot that is easy to access, with high ground on your right and behind you. This way, you can keep the enemy in front of you while remaining safe in the rear. These principles of military strategy have proven effective throughout history, enabling leaders to win battles. Armies generally prefer higher ground over low-lying areas and sunny spots over dark ones. Careful planning and maintaining good camp conditions can prevent disease among soldiers, which is essential for victory. When you approach a hill or bank, occupy the sunny side while keeping the slope on your right and behind you. This positioning not only benefits your soldiers, but also takes advantage of the natural landscape. In the event of heavy rains causing rivers to swell, be patient and wait for the water to recede before attempting to cross. Dangerous terrain, such as steep cliffs, deep valleys, and dense forests, should be avoided. These places can be hazardous, and it's best to lure the enemy into these difficult areas while keeping your own troops at a safe distance. If your camp is near any hidden spots like ponds, thickets, or other dense vegetation, thoroughly search these areas for potential ambushes or spies. Staying vigilant and cautious in these situations is crucial for maintaining the safety and effectiveness of your army. When the enemy is near but remains quiet, it indicates that they are relying on the natural strength of their position. They are confident that their location gives them an advantage. In contrast, if the enemy keeps their distance and tries to provoke a battle, it shows they want us to make the first move. This tactic can be effective because they may be hoping we will advance into a trap. If the enemy's camp is easy to access, they are likely trying to lure us in. This can be a way to set a bait, tempting us to attack while they prepare their defenses or counterattack. It's important to be cautious and not fall for such tricks. When we notice movement among the trees in a forest, it can signal that the enemy is advancing. The rustling leaves and branches may indicate that their troops are moving closer. Similarly, if we see screens or barriers appearing in thick grass, the enemy is likely trying to create a sense of suspicion and confusion. They want us to question our safety and possibly become hesitant to act. The rising of birds taking flight can also be a sign of an ambush. When startled, birds will fly away suddenly, indicating that something is approaching. Additionally, if we see animals becoming frightened and running away, it can signal that a sudden attack is imminent. Dust rising in a high column is a sign that chariots or a large group of cavalry are advancing. This tells us to prepare for a serious encounter. On the other hand, if the dust is low and spread over a wide area, it usually indicates the approach of infantry troops. This kind of dust suggests a large number of soldiers are moving together. If the dust branches out in different directions, it likely means that smaller parties have been sent to gather firewood or supplies. A few clouds of dust moving back and forth can signify that the army is setting up camp. It indicates some level of activity as they prepare their positions. When we observe humble words and increased preparations from the enemy, it often suggests that they are about to advance. It is a time to remain vigilant. Conversely, if the enemy uses violent language and pushes forward aggressively, it may signal that they are actually considering retreat. Their aggressive stance could be a facade to make us think they are ready to fight while they are really looking for an opportunity to withdraw safely. If the light chariots are the first to come out and take positions on the flanks, this is often a sign that the enemy is preparing for battle. They are organizing their forces and trying to establish a strategic advantage. When the enemy sends peace proposals without any sworn agreement, it is often a sign of deception. They may be trying to create a false sense of security or lull us into complacency before launching an attack. If we observe a lot of running around and soldiers falling into ranks, it generally means that a critical moment has arrived. The troops are being organized for something significant, perhaps an imminent battle. When we see some soldiers advancing while others are retreating, this can be a deceptive tactic, a ploy to lure us into a false sense of confidence. If soldiers are standing and leaning on their spears, it indicates they are weary and lacking food. They may not have had enough to eat, which can affect their morale and effectiveness in battle. If those sent to fetch water begin drinking themselves instead of sharing it, it is a clear sign that the army is suffering from thirst and that their condition is dire. If the enemy sees an advantage but does not act on it, it often means their soldiers are exhausted and not willing to fight. This can be an opportunity for us to take advantage of their weakness. Birds gathering in one spot can indicate that the area is unoccupied and may be a good place for us to explore or use to our advantage. However, noise and clamor at night suggest that there is nervousness among the troops. If there is a disturbance in the camp, it often shows that the general's authority is weak. If we see banners and flags being shifted around, it could indicate that there is dissent or trouble brewing within the ranks. When officers are angry, it often reflects that the soldiers are weary and discontented. When an army starts feeding its horses with grain and resorting to killing its cattle for food, it signals a serious situation. If the soldiers do not hang their cooking pots over the campfires, it shows they are prepared to fight to the death, indicating a lack of intention to return to their tents. Men whispering together in small groups or speaking in subdued tones can suggest that there is discontent among the soldiers. When rewards are given too frequently, it may mean that the enemy is running low on resources. On the contrary, if there are too many punishments being handed out, it suggests that the troops are in a state of distress and not functioning well. Starting with bravado, but then becoming frightened by the enemy's numbers shows a severe lack of intelligence and planning. When envoys approach with compliments, it often indicates that the enemy desires a truce or negotiation. If the enemy's troops march up angrily and remain facing ours for a long time without either engaging in battle or withdrawing, it is a situation that requires us to be extremely vigilant and cautious. This standoff can indicate a build-up to a potential conflict. When our forces are equal in number to the enemy, it does not mean we can attack directly. Instead, we should focus on gathering our available strength, keeping a close watch on the enemy, and obtaining reinforcements to improve our chances. A general who does not think ahead and underestimates their opponents is likely to be caught off guard and defeated. If soldiers are punished before they have had a chance to bond with their leaders, they will not be loyal and will be less effective in battle. Conversely, if soldiers grow attached to their leaders but do not face punishment when necessary, they may become complacent and ineffective. Thus, soldiers must first be treated with kindness to build a strong bond, but they also need to be kept under strict discipline to ensure they are ready for battle. This balance is a certain path to victory. In training soldiers, commands must be consistently enforced to build good discipline. If a general shows confidence in their men while also insisting that orders be obeyed, the relationship between the general and the troops will strengthen, benefiting both. Chapter 10. Terrain. In his teachings, Sun Tzu identified 6 types of terrain. 1. Accessible ground. This is land that both sides can easily move across. To gain an advantage, occupy raised and sunny areas while protecting your supply lines. 2. Entangling ground. This is land that can be abandoned but is difficult to reclaim. If the enemy is unprepared, we can launch a surprise attack. However, if they are ready and we fail to defeat them, we may find ourselves in a disastrous situation. 3. Temporizing ground. This is a position where neither side gains by being the first to act. Even if the enemy offers a tempting bait, it may be wiser to retreat and draw them out into a vulnerable position. 4. Narrow passes. If you can occupy narrow passes first, ensure they are well defended and wait for the enemy. If the enemy gets there before you, don't pursue them unless they are weakly garrisoned. 5. Precipitous heights. If you can occupy high and sunny spots before the enemy, do so and wait for them to approach. If they have taken those positions first, do not follow. Instead, retreat and try to lure them away. 6. Great distance from the enemy. If there is a significant gap between the two armies and their strengths are equal, it becomes difficult to provoke a battle, which can be to our disadvantage. Understanding these types of terrain is crucial for a general who holds a responsible position. An army can face 6 kinds of disasters, not caused by natural events, but by the general's mistakes. 1. Flight. If the army retreats in panic, it reflects poor leadership. 2. Insubordination. When common soldiers are too strong and their officers too weak, it leads to chaos. 3. Collapse. When the officers are too strong compared to the common soldiers, it results in a breakdown of order. 4. Ruin. This happens when higher officers act out of anger and take the initiative without waiting for the commander's orders. 5. Disorganization. A weak general without clear orders leads to confusion among the ranks. 6. Rout. This occurs when a general misjudges the enemy's strength and allows a smaller force to engage a larger one. There are 6 ways to invite defeat, and a general in charge must be aware of these pitfalls. The natural features of the land can be a soldier's best ally. A general must also be skilled at assessing the enemy, controlling victory, and calculating difficulties, dangers, and distances. A general who understands these principles and applies them in battle will win. Conversely, those who fail to grasp these concepts will almost certainly lose. If the conditions guarantee victory, then the general must fight, even if their superiors disapprove. Conversely, if the fight will not result in victory, it is best to avoid combat, even if ordered to engage. The ideal general is one who advances without seeking personal glory and retreats without fearing disgrace, focusing solely on the welfare of their country and serving their sovereign well. They should treat their soldiers as beloved children, and in return, the soldiers will follow them through the toughest challenges. However, if a general is overly indulgent but lacks authority, they will become ineffective and the soldiers will act like spoiled children, proving useless in combat. It is crucial for a general to establish strong leadership while also fostering loyalty and commitment among their troops. To achieve victory, we must be aware of our own soldiers' readiness to attack and the enemy's vulnerabilities. Even if we recognize the enemy is weak, but do not acknowledge our own troops' readiness, we are only halfway to achieving success. Furthermore, if we are aware of both our strengths and the enemy's weaknesses, but neglect to consider the battlefield terrain, we still fall short of victory. A wise soldier must always maintain clarity and a keen sense of direction in battle, ensuring they understand both their own forces and the conditions of the environment. If you understand both your own forces and the enemy's capabilities, you will have the upper hand. When you also grasp the terrain's features, your chances of success will significantly increase. In the end, knowledge of oneself, the enemy, and the surrounding environment forms the foundation of effective strategy and is essential for achieving triumph on the battlefield. If the enemy has the power to defeat a large group of our soldiers in this difficult area, we must act quickly to avoid destruction. This is urgent ground where our only chance of survival is to fight right away. We should not fight on weak ground where the enemy can easily take advantage of us. Instead, we need to be smart about where and how we engage in battle. On challenging terrain, we should avoid open spaces that leave us vulnerable. We shouldn't try to block the enemy's path if it puts us at risk. Instead, we should focus on working closely with our allies, making sure that we support each other during the fight. On difficult ground, we should also gather any resources we can find, such as food and supplies, to help sustain our army. It's important to keep moving and not get stuck in one place. When we find ourselves trapped or hemmed in, we need to think strategically and be clever about our next steps. Experienced leaders know how to separate the enemy's forces, preventing them from helping each other. When the enemy is disorganized, we can take advantage of the situation. They will be confused and unable to react quickly. Only when it's beneficial should we move forward in our attack. If we are faced with a large enemy force that is ready to attack us, our first step should be to take something they value. This could be supplies, a stronghold, or any strategic point that is important to them. By doing this, we can gain the upper hand and make them more vulnerable to our actions. Speed is crucial in war. We must take advantage of the enemy's unpreparedness, attack their weak spots, and catch them off guard whenever possible. As we invade enemy territory, we must remember that the deeper we go, the more unified our troops will become. This means that as we advance, our soldiers will feel a stronger sense of purpose and teamwork. It's essential to raid less productive areas for food and supplies to ensure that our army remains strong and well-fed. We need to carefully monitor the well-being of our soldiers and avoid exhausting them through unnecessary hardships. We should concentrate our efforts and keep our strength reserved for critical moments. Keeping the army in motion will help maintain morale and readiness. We must create clever plans that will keep the enemy guessing and off balance. When we place soldiers in situations where there is no easy way out, they will feel more motivated to fight. When surrounded, they will resist more fiercely and follow orders without hesitation. Before forming alliances, we need to understand our allies' intentions and how they plan to act. It's also essential to be familiar with the terrain we will be marching through, including its mountains, forests, and other natural obstacles. Knowledge of the land helps us navigate effectively and can turn the advantages of the terrain to our benefit. Therefore, we should make use of local guides who can help us avoid pitfalls and navigate challenging areas. Overlooking any important principle when planning a military campaign is not suitable for a leader. When attacking a powerful state, the general must prevent the enemy's forces from concentrating their power. It's important to avoid forming alliances that would strengthen other states against us. Instead, we should keep our own plans secret, maintaining an air of mystery that keeps our enemies wary and cautious. A successful general knows how to control the situation by being decisive and confident. We should be able to capture enemy cities and overthrow their kingdoms while keeping our intentions hidden from view. Rewards should be given strategically, without rigid rules, and orders should be issued without worrying too much about previous arrangements. This flexibility allows us to manage the army effectively, as if we were directing a single person. When communicating with our soldiers, we should focus on action rather than words. Never let them know your exact plans. When the situation is positive, let them see the opportunities. But when things are looking grim, it's better to keep them in the dark. When the army is placed in dangerous situations, it often brings out their best fighting spirit. They will find ways to survive and adapt, showing remarkable resilience under pressure. Success in warfare is gained by carefully adjusting our strategies to the enemy's movements. By persistently attacking from the side, we can weaken their resolve over time. If we can manage to defeat their top leaders, we can significantly disrupt their ability to fight back. This kind of cunning and cleverness in battle is key to achieving victory. Once you take command of your troops, it's essential to block off any key routes and passages. We should destroy any official documents that could reveal our plans and stop any messages from reaching the enemy. By creating chaos in the enemy's ranks, we can control the situation more effectively. If the enemy leaves their defenses weak or open, we must seize the moment and rush in. It's important to move quickly to take advantage of any openings. Be prepared to adapt your strategy depending on the situation at hand. Follow the established guidelines while remaining flexible enough to respond to the enemy's movements. At first, we should be as cautious as a maiden, waiting for the right moment. Once we see an opportunity, we should act swiftly like a running hare, making it too late for the enemy to mount a defense. In Chapter 12, Sun Tzu explains how to use fire as a weapon in battle. There are 5 main ways to attack with fire. 1. Burning the soldiers' camps. One effective tactic is to set fire to the enemy's camps while their soldiers are present. This can create chaos and panic among their ranks. 2. Burning food supplies. We can also burn their food supplies. This deprives the enemy of essential resources and weakens their ability to fight. 3. Burning supply trains. Attacking their supply trains can hinder their ability to resupply during a battle, giving us the advantage. 4. Burning weapon storage. Destroying their arsenals and storage areas for weapons can significantly weaken their forces. 5. Using fire in combat. Lastly, we can hurl fire into the enemy lines to cause confusion and fear, making them less effective in battle. To successfully carry out a fire attack, we need to have the necessary materials ready in advance. Preparation is key to making our fire attacks effective. The right timing is also crucial. We should only launch these attacks when the conditions are favorable, such as during dry weather. Specific days when the moon is in certain phases are better for starting fires, as they often coincide with rising winds. When we decide to use fire in battle, we should be prepared for several possible scenarios. If a fire breaks out in the enemy's camp, we should launch an immediate attack to take advantage of their confusion. If the enemy's soldiers stay calm during a fire, we should wait for the right moment to strike. If the flames grow strong, we can follow up with an attack if it is safe to do so. However, if there is a chance to attack the enemy before the fire spreads, we should take that opportunity. When starting a fire, we should always be positioned against the wind. This helps to control the spread of the fire and minimize risks to our own troops. A daytime wind can sustain the fire longer, while a nighttime breeze tends to die down quickly. In every army, it's vital that all members understand the tactics related to fire and know the right conditions for launching these attacks. They must be aware of the movements of the stars and keep an eye on the timing of the fire attacks. Careful planning and coordination can lead to devastating effects on the enemy. Ultimately, the effective use of fire in battle requires knowledge, preparation, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Understanding how to implement these tactics can provide a significant advantage and lead to victory on the battlefield. In summary, the lessons from this discussion highlight the importance of strategy, adaptability, and understanding the enemy in warfare. By using the right tactics, keeping our plans secret, and maintaining strong connections with our troops, we can achieve success even against overwhelming odds. The principles of using fire in battle are just one part of a larger strategy that includes knowing when and how to engage, how to keep the enemy disoriented, and how to maintain the morale of our own soldiers. In every situation, whether we are attacking or defending, we must stay flexible and ready to adapt our approach based on the circumstances we face. The ultimate goal of any military action is not just to fight, but to achieve victory through smart planning and decisive action. Whether it is through direct engagement, the clever use of terrain, or the strategic application of fire, we must always aim to turn the tide of battle in our favor. Good leaders know how to plan. A successful attack needs resources and a smart approach. Water can help strengthen an army, but just attacking won't take everything from the enemy. If someone tries to win battles without being bold and resourceful, they waste time and efforts. A wise leader carefully makes plans, and a good general uses their resources wisely. Don't act until there's a clear advantage. Don't use your troops unless there's something to gain. Avoid fighting unless it's crucial. No leader should send troops into battle just to satisfy personal feelings. If there's a benefit, make a move. If not, stay put. Feelings like anger can change, but once a kingdom falls, it can't be rebuilt. That's why good leaders are careful. This is how they keep peace and a strong army. Chapter 13. The Use of Spies. Sun Tzu said that raising a large army and moving them far can be costly for the people and the country's resources. The daily cost can be high, and many people will suffer. Armies may face each other for years, but the outcome can be decided in just one day. Therefore, being unaware of the enemy's situation because you don't want to spend a little money on information is foolish. Those who do this are not true leaders. What allows wise leaders and generals to succeed is having information about the enemy. This information cannot be gained from ghosts or guesses. It must come from other people, which is why spies are essential. There are 5 types of spies. 1. Local spies. 2. Inward spies. 3. Converted spies. 4. Doomed spies. 5. Surviving spies. When all types of spies work together, they can keep secrets well. Local spies are from the area. Inward spies are officials from the enemy. Converted spies are enemies who switch sides. Doomed spies do things to mislead the enemy. And surviving spies bring back news. Spies should be closely managed and well rewarded. Secrecy is vital in their work. To ensure their reports are accurate, you need to be smart and kind. If a spy reveals secrets too soon, they should be punished. Before any operation, find out who the enemy's leaders and assistants are. Use spies to discover this information. Enemy spies can be lured and turned into allies. The information gained from converted spies helps to find local and inward spies, as well as to mislead the enemy using doomed spies. Ultimately, the goal of all types of spying is to understand the enemy better, and this begins with the converted spies. Good rulers and generals know how to use spies effectively, leading to great success. Spies are crucial for an army's movements.